Welcome back to another episode of Shortcuts with RA. I'm Andrew. I am the A in RA, and I am super pumped to talk to you today about a huge mistake that I made recently and wanted to go through what I did, why it happened, and what we can do to avoid it in the future. So something you may not know about me, doesn't really matter if you do or not, is I'm big on file management. I really like to make sure that all of my digital files are organized properly. And so last Friday, I was going through some of our systems on Google Drive and Dropbox and kind of making sure that things were in good order. What I didn't think about was the fact that we had several outside integrations tied to specifically our Google Drive. And if I made some changes to some very specific folders, that it would result in some catastrophic data loss. And that's exactly what happened. So what I was doing was just, there's a main folder that we have that that's the parent folder of everything. I kept losing that folder because it had a name that kind of was weird, and it didn't go to the top because it wasn't alphabetical, all this good stuff. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna change the first couple of characters on that folder. I'm gonna throw a 1- in there. And so it'll always rise to the top whenever I'm sorting by name. So 2 characters cost us 146 gigabytes worth of data because I was tired of looking for a specific file name. Fortunately, thank goodness, we employ very smart people who had set up redundant systems just for such an occasion. So fortunately, I wasn't permanently lost, but what happened essentially is I made all these changes on Friday, and Monday morning, got in, was chatting with Ethan, and he said, "Hey, did you make any changes to our file structure on Friday?" He said, "Well, I've got, everything that we had in our main video folder got dumped into the deleted bin, 146 gigabytes worth of data," and my jaw just kind of hits the floor because I knew exactly as soon as he said that what had happened. The main video folder was seated under the parent folder that I had made a change to, and as a result, the archiving system that we were using had decided that all the files that we had from the very beginning were no longer supposed to be on our drive, and so it just started systematically deleting everything. So in reality, it could have been much, much worse because this was a redundant system. This was a redundant backup system that was affected by this. But if it hadn't been for the quick attention of one of our staff and acknowledging that, hey, I made a mistake, it could have been much, much worse, and it could have slowed things down incredibly over the next several months as we were trying to kind of find where all those video files had gone to. And fortunately, that wasn't the case because everybody was on top of it. So I learned 2 things. First quick thing that I learned from almost deleting 146 gigabytes of our video files was that you have to have a global protocol, some sort of system in place that tells the entire team, hey, this is how the file structure needs to be set up, and by the way, don't make any changes to this particular folder or that particular folder along the way, because we have several systems that are third-party integrations that are tied to that, and if you make any changes at all, everything will go away, and we don't want that. So we set up a systematic, overarching company-wide policy on a couple of folders that are specifically tied to our third-party integrations, so we don't ever have to worry about that kind of issue again. The second thing that I think it was a powerful reminder for me, not so much that I learned, but a powerful reminder for me, was that it's so incredibly important to have redundant systems, to have those backup systems in place, because if I made a mistake, or if one of my employees made a mistake, or if Richie made a mistake and accidentally deleted hours worth of footage that we were planning on using, that's not something you can just get back. So if you don't have redundant systems in place to recover those things when mistakes are made, because let's face it, mistakes get made, you're going to put yourself in a world of hurt. Those are the 2 big things that I took away from all this. And the third, kind of the bonus thing that I took away from all of this is that attention to detail and working with people and making sure your staff are professionals that really pay attention to small, crucial details is invaluable. Because if Ethan hadn't caught my mistake within a day or so of me making that mistake, it would have taken much, much longer for him to fix it. As it turned out, he was able to fix it within an hour, and everything was back to normal by the next day after everything had synced back up. So all that to say, make sure you have systems in place that are redundant. Make sure that you have a global procedure in place to prevent errors like that from costing you thousands of gigabytes worth of data, and make sure you're working with people that have high attention to detail, because attention to detail is what saved us from creating a huge amount of work down the road. So that's it. Follow us, like this video, subscribe, whatever you got to do to make sure you see the next shortcut from RA, and we'll be back soon.